Actually, this commission was appointed in terms of the recommendation of the LLRC report. LLRC report recommended that certain things has to be inquired into and investigated. Accordingly, this commission was appointed. The first mandate issued was to inquire into forced disappearance people and abducted people. Then second mandate was to inquire into crimes committed violation of international humanitarian law, international human rights law, and who have violated those laws, when it had been violated, and to recommend what sort of steps should be taken. Now, today's this report we are discussing is relevant to the second mandate as regard to violation of international law in relation to last phase of the war. Now, the period is from 1st of January 2009 to 18th May 2009. In this report, we have set out in detail how the international laws come to apply into these incidents, how the law become applicable into these incidents. Thereafter, we have set out during the phase of the war the incident that occurred through both hands, our security forces, LTT, and analyze their activities, how they have committed certain wrongs according to the international law. We have set out in detail. Then we also have set out where on the face of evidence that we received and also other evidence from various material, where you can accept certain wrongs have been accepted without much investigation. But there were few incidents that were of very public importance. Incidents like the Channel 4, white flags, Surrendis going missing. Those things, those are isolated incidents that may have occurred outside the activities of the war, which we say that they should be investigated in depth to come to conclusions. At no time we have come to conclusion those wrongs have been committed by our security forces. We can also say security forces always acted for the safety of civilians. They took all precautions. They created no-fire zones. They always they acted in defense of the civilians. Sometimes they had to shoot to save civilians. In the midst of it, crossfire, some civilians may have died. For example, when the no-fire zone was created, LTT wanted to prevent them from going because they were having them as shield. In that, to prevent them, they shot and some of them died. And after they rushed into the no-fire zone, what they did was they got into the civil clothes and went with arms, got among the civilians, they shot back. And the army also shot back at the civilians who were trying to escape. Because the army created corridors from no-fire zones for them to escape and go. The LTT stayed there and shot at them to prevent them going. Those acts the army tried to prevent in order to secure the civilians. Sometimes they had to fire. A certain amount of civilians died. Now, the fact that they got into civilian code with arms and went into civilians, that is a war crime. That is deception. So, army always acted for safety of civilians. In the meantime, some people have died. So we have applied that humanitarian principle, proportionality, and we have analyzed to what extent it can be justified as regard to the number may have died and what the army achieved by doing so. You have to proportionate and see. Then the other thing committed by the LTT, taking child soldiers. Then the other thing that how they got illegal funds and how our security forces were concerned about this, and they got down medicine in spite and gave them in spite of all this from food, and how they have been by force taken by the LTT. All those things are set out in detail. So I could say we have set out a balanced report. Also, when you overall take into consideration, our forces have done a humanitarian operation. Sometimes you cannot have nil casualties because it's a war. Both sides dealing with arms. Then we also have suggested a mechanism. If someone had done wrong by the LTT or our security forces, how they can go through a process of freeing themselves. For example, we have set up a special high court so that if some soldier who is alleged to have committed crime may go before the high court and prove himself by his innocence by going through a process of law. At the same time, we are recommended to set up a truth commission where if anybody, whether LTT or security forces, can go before the truth commission and say, I did this wrong under these circumstances, please have amnesty. So the truth commission will consider. So we have set out 2 operations for them to deal with, and it's all suggested for the process to be very humanitarian. So I think putting into operation of what we have suggested is not a difficult task. We have recommended the process. Then the other problem about the Danuspan report. We have been critical of the Danuspan report, but there are instances we have accepted some of those things said. Danuspan report specifically says 40,000 died during the last phase of the war. We have said that it is without any basis. In this matter, the Commission went through many sources to find out what the correct number of deaths were during the last phase of the war. We considered various cables sent daily from here to UNO about happenings. There we added each day the number of casualties. It came to about 7,000 knots. Then we considered the cable sent by the US Embassy. It also came to about 7,000 knots. By the Red Cross, it also had come to about 7,000. Then our Department of Statistics, soon after the war, they went from house to house, took statistics. According to their figures, also about 7,000. So there, it's about 7,000. But yet, to be honest about it, even considering this, we can't come to an exact number. But considering all these facts, we can definitely say it's not 40,000 as set out in the Danuspan. Well, our report has to be heavier because we have gone to the grounds and got all the information and prepared. That report, I don't know from what source they prepared. So, our bag has to be heavier, but that doesn't mean that this heaviness will go to find our security forces or LTT guilty of anything. You see, basically we have said where there are issues of such nature, they must be investigated for conclusions. No, this is a report that we have prepared to meet our warrant, which is very broad. You see, we didn't prepare this report for something. We prepared this report as required by our warrant issue. Our warrant is very wide. You see, whether this is going to be made use of, would have been made use of at UNO is not commission business. They are political decisions we don't like to comment on. Well, all these are arisen, especially the security forces, they have done a humanitarian operation. LTT also had got involved in these activities for their own some achievement. So that we thought we'll suggest a mechanism where whoever who is being involved given opportunity. You see, given opportunity in a humanitarian way to come and say what they want to say and get whatever leniency that it needs, because some sort of humanitarian operation is needed, because this has happened during a humanitarian operation. You see, these not happen due to straight war. So we have made a mechanism very humanitarian way, so that there's an opportunity given to them.
And the High Court?
If someone is of the opinion, I never did that, he must be given an option to go to court and say, you are not guilty. You see, then he is totally free from it. There, the truth commission, you can say under this condition, my mental capacity and all that, and say and get amnesty. So we have provided, and those processes must be set up by law, by legislation. Otherwise, whoever who wants to go before the Truth Commission may not have faith. Law must be legislated, setting up the Truth Commission, and other relief they can give, and the procedure must be set out so that it will convince anybody who wants to go before that they are backed by legality for getting amnesty. Otherwise, if you just say this is a Truth Commission, they will fear to go there. After I admit that they will put me into jail. So that fear must be set off. So that is by legislature, they must discuss it. We have said, take into consideration the Truth Commission appointed in other countries like South Africa, but adopt a commission that is suitable our situation. Yeah, I say a separate special High Court, experienced senior High Court judges can be appointed, and also special High Court where there won't be other cases coming in, these matters getting delayed, so that they can concentrate in these matters and be disposed early. That's what I say. I mean, I have been an ex-judge, here in these cases, nothing special, no? Nothing special. Only people are talking and making it a complicated matter. Another criminal case. We have said that foreign observers may be invited or permitted. We have kept at that. You see, foreign observers may be permitted. Of course, to what extent?
Observers in the capacity of what?
To see Truth Commission, everything, whether things are happening to acceptable standards. Of course, whether to permit foreign delegation more than observing, those are political decisions. Those are political decisions which we never wanted to tread. Well, we have come to conclusion as a group, like the LTT as a group, what sort of crimes they have committed. Right? Then the security forces went on a humanitarian operation, keeping in mind the safety of the civilians, to free them from as hostages. So we found that the security forces jointly, as forces, we didn't come across that they have done any crime, except for some isolated incidents that have been spoken about widely, which you have mentioned and say that those must be investigated. But LTT, like child soldiers, deception practiced by wearing white clothes, getting among the civilians, shooting being among civilians, preventing civilians escaping to safety areas. All those group crimes we have specifically mentioned. Well, now these are being published, it will automatically go, no? It will find its own way. How officially to be sent or not, it's a decision of the government. Actually, these reports are really property of now. We give it to President. He had a discussion to publish or not. But he had used that discussion and through Prime Minister, this report has been tabled and is subject to discussions. I think it should not be like that because our recommendations are just practical, simple recommendation which is easy to carry out, you see. Because in our report, at the end, we have set out a mechanism. We have set out a mechanism to deal with this matter. And we believe this mechanism will go a long way to find solution to the problem in issue. I am not saying this mechanism is the only mechanism, but if it's implemented, which is very simple, which is of course a domestic procedure, it will bring about some sort of consideration for reconciliation also. Because we are given an opportunity to identify wrong, by investigation to identify the wrongdoers, then thereafter we are recommended through what process they must go. All that is there. So that's a we have recommended a mechanism which can reach a closure on the matter in issue. So why should this go into a cupboard?